House of the Dragon is a prequel series to the critically acclaimed and one of the most revered television series of all time in Game of Thrones. The first 2 episodes of this brand new hotness are now available on HBO Max, and I've decided to take my reviews for the series in a different direction. I'm going to be reviewing every 2 episodes bi-weekly, so you can get just a little bit more every time I review House of the Dragon. But if you have not seen House of the Dragon yet, and you're not caught up with the brand new show, you might want to go and do that. And no, I'm not going to lend you my HBO MAX login, not after you change the password on me. But for all you God fans who have been clamoring for more content in this universe, you might want to stop what you're doing, go jump on your dragon, or if you don't have a dragon, go send in a raven into your workplace, tell your boss you're going to be late because we're talking about House of the Dragons episode 1 and 2. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hess Project. I'm John Rodelaza, and yeah, I got a little worked up doing that intense intro, but I like getting intense for you guys and getting you hyped for whatever it is we're about to talk about. So today we're talking about the first 2 episodes of House of the Dragon. It's the official prequel series to Game of Thrones, that HBO juggernaut that lasted 7-8 years. I'm not entirely sure. I first got exposed to the series during Rona. I watched it all pretty in a short amount of time. Like, I had just binged through that stuff, and to be honest, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. We will review Game of Thrones at a later date. Right now, we're talking about House of the Dragon. This show is set 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. Now, that's good at least, because sometimes prequels run into the trap of, oh, it's not far enough, so you gotta center it around a character who technically does exist in this time period, or in this universe. It's quite distant away from any of the characters we're familiar with, so that's good. It gives the writers a lot more breathing room. They could pretty much do whatever, to an extent. I'm sure George R.R. Martin has stuff written for characters in this time period. I personally don't know. I've never read a Game of Thrones book. If you guys have, let me know down below if he has touched upon these characters in great length. I just think it adds a lot more room to breathe when you're creating scripts for a television series. And who knows, this might last pretty long, if not as long as Game of Thrones' original run. Like, that would be pretty cool. It has 200 years, so they could do whatever they want. And in this time period, there are more dragons. Like, we don't have to wait till season 4 or 5 to see a full-fledged dragon. Like, we get dragons in this first episode. I'm gonna butcher some of these names, so bear with me. Millie Alcock, who plays young Rhaenyra Targaryen, she's fantastic in this show, dude. I don't know how old she is. I gotta check that, but dude, she is a very 22. Oh wow, she's my age. Okay. So I thought she was much younger. She looks a lot younger, but she's fantastic in this show, man. For someone that young, standing toe to toe with Riz Ifans and Matt Smith, like, this is some good quality actors right there. Minus Riz Ifans in that one movie I reviewed last year, The King's Man. Don't watch that. And she's having these one-to-one scenes with these well-established actors, and it's impressive, man. House of the Dragon seems to be continuing that trend with Game of Thrones, how they just plucked a lot of unknowns and put them in this show, just let them showcase their talent and everything they have to offer. It's just really cool. Just realized my mic was a lot further away than I like it to be, so testing. Hopefully from this point on, the video sounds great. I want to talk real quick about Matt Smith and his character of Daemon Targaryen. Look, he's the standout of the show for me, and I like Rhaenyra. I like all the other actors. They're talented as all hell, but this dude is really grabbing me and selling me on this concept of, you know, him being kind of like rogue and doing his own thing. I love that, man, and it's gonna bring us back to those vibes of Game of Thrones, where it's like schemes going on and you know, kingdoms falling and kings being told to marry 12-year-olds. That was just weird. Well, I can go on and talk about the little minute details of the show. I want to talk a little bit more broad about it because I don't want to, you know, get lost in the 2 episodes. So I really enjoyed the reintroduction into Westeros and this whole vibe that this show has. Like, the Game of Thrones series, it embodies that time period. It doesn't feel cheap by any means. It really does commit to being a period piece. It feels raw. It feels visceral at times. You have to build to all of that gore and stuff that Game of Thrones is known for. But this first episode of House of the Dragon, it just goes right in. Like, Daemon is on full display, chopping people to pieces. It's insanity. And real quick, I want to talk about Paddy Considine. Is that his name? He plays Viserys. Please tell me in the comments down below, did anybody think that he looks like the actor who plays the Hound from Game of Thrones? For a second, I'm like, yo, is that the same dude? I looked up, not the same dude, but they have a lot of similar features. Like, I'm going to try to do a comparison on the screen. See if you guys see what I see, because I can't unsee it. The one thing I will say I'm worried about, it's not this big issue. It's just something that I fear this show will fall into and get a little too comfortable as we get along, especially because they announced season 2 already before episode 2 even dropped. I mean, that's insane to me. Episode 1 broke a lot of streaming records, so I understand that to an extent. But my fear for this show is that it'll struggle to find its own identity and pull away from Game of Thrones as the television series, because House of the Dragon is its own series. You gotta remember that. It's its own thing. With the reintroduction of Westeros came a lot of similar vibes with the cinematography, which I have no problem with. I mean, it's a beautiful time period. Film it how they filmed it in the Game of Thrones, because it looks amazing. So I thought that was fine, but once they started playing themes from Game of Thrones, I thought, oh, okay, that's a little homage because this is the family bloodline of Daenerys from Game of Thrones. Then episode 2 opened up with a title card, like a whole opening intro sequence with the Game of Thrones theme song. Now, that, I don't know why that kind of bugged me, because I love the Game of Thrones theme song. When I popped in that first episode ever, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll give this show a try. It ended, people are stopped talking about it, might as well watch it. That intro hit from that first Game of Thrones episode, I was hooked, dude. That song is so epic. I loved it. And just to see this show borrow it, I hope it was just for this one episode, or maybe for a few episodes, and then they get their own theme. I truly feel like having that same Game of Thrones theme for House of Dragon is a mistake. This show should not have to rely that heavily on Game of Thrones to the point where you're hearing the same tune, just with a different name. It's just a reskin. Imagine if Better Call Saul had the same theme as Breaking Bad. Imagine if, like, Power Rangers used the same theme. It at least varied it up a little bit. So it's not the biggest gripe for me, but I just want to know if you guys feel similar. Like, did you get all hyped up when you heard the Game of Thrones theme in the beginning of House of the Dragon? Or did you, like, sit back and realize, oh, wait, they don't have their own theme? They're just going to use the Game of Thrones theme? Like, I don't know how to feel about that. I hope that they get their own theme at some point to make this show feel different in some sense, in some degree, because it deserves that, dude. Matt Smith is phenomenal in this show, and I cannot wait to see what he does to dethrone his father, or his brother. I keep thinking that Viserys is his father, but they're brothers. He just looks so much older than Matt Smith in here, so it's just hard to differentiate. But I love the dynamic of the characters in this show. It already introduced us to an uneasy point in time with these characters. Like, I just feel like everyone can die at any moment in time, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know the lore, so I don't know what's going on. Don't spoil things in the comments if it's written in stone or scripture from George R.R. Martin. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Let's talk about visual effects real quick. The dragons in here, there's a lot more dragons than we've seen almost ever in Game of Thrones. I have no problem with them. There's certain shots where I guess, sure, you could, like, nitpick, but dude, these dragons look freaking awesome. Like, I think they were pretty well done. Like, I loved the dragons in here, and I cannot wait to see more of them. The flying POV shot of, like, Rhaenyra on the dragon looks a lot better than when we used to see Daenerys on her dragon, or Drogo or whatever. Like, dude, those shots before looked corny as hell. These look a lot better. they're not like, obviously I don't know what a dragon looks like. Honestly, we will never know what a dragon realistically looks like, so this is as close as it's gonna get. I'm excited to see what happens in this series, dude. I really want to know what happens with Rhaenyra and how she struggles and overcomes this obstacle of being the first queen of her time. Like, it's never happened before, so I'm excited to see where that goes and what's the precedent for Daenerys. Like, I want to know all these things. It's intriguing to me. I want to know what happens now. But we have about 8 episodes left of House of the Dragon, and like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm going to be reviewing every other week for House of the Dragon. So the next time you see me, we're talking episodes 3 and 4. That is going to be it for my review of House of the Dragon episodes 1 and 2. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys, and be sure to stick around for the rest of the week, as I'm going to be reviewing episode 3 of She-Hulk. That show's getting pretty wild too, I'm not gonna lie. It's not the best thing, like, it's still Marvel though. It's still Marvel, and I got a soft spot for that superhero shit. You know I do. I'm there for it. I want to know what happens. I'm all in for the legal side of things when it comes to Jennifer Walters, but I'm also there for the She-Hulk side of things, because that looks to be fun and entertaining, so I'm there for it. But hey, House of the Dragon ain't no slouch, so if you have not seen these 2 episodes yet, but you're at the end of this video for some reason, what are you doing? Why'd you let me spoil it for you? Go watch it. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, you should go and watch it. If not, this might not be for you, honestly, because it's very similar to Game of Thrones. It is just that vibe, but with other people. and it takes place 200 years before. And it's got more dragons. If you're a fan of dragons, and maybe that's the reason why you were holding back, like, oh, there's too much sex scenes, not enough dragons. Well, there's the same amount of sex scenes, but there's more dragons. So, plus, I guess. So mark your calendars and hit that notification bell, because once episode 4 hits, you can come back to me, as I'm going to be reviewing episodes 3 and 4 of House of the Dragon. So stay tuned, guys, because there is more to come.